Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Nadia and every week I bring you free sex talk and sex advice aimed at breaking down the shame and stigma that we have around sex. And today I want to talk to you about boobies. You could lose something down here. I must improve my boss. Boobies, boobs, tits, bazonkas, melons, whatever you want to call them. Breasts are pretty amazing things. They are incredibly sensual. They have the ability to literally feed another human being. And for a lot of women, they're also a very sensitive area that can bring intense sexual pleasure. So today I want to give you my top 5 tips for touching breasts. For a lot of women, their breasts are very sensitive and it's not enjoyable to have them touched, while for others it can be an incredibly erotic experience. And regardless of whether or not a woman enjoys it sexually, you still need to, as a responsible adult who has respect for your partner, ask for their consent before you just go ahead and touch a body part. So do say, can I touch you here? Is that okay? Would you like that? And if you get a no, then obviously you need to stop immediately and you need to respect that. But if you get a yes, then you can go right ahead. My recommendation, if you've watched my other videos, you know that I am big on teasing. Women love teasing. We don't like just going straight to the finish line. We don't get enough time to get lubricated and aroused for the main event. So tease us by not going straight underneath the clothing first. Touch her over her clothes. Feel her breasts outside the clothing. And you can just do some light circling around like that, or maybe just put your hands there while you're making out with her. And that can feel very nice and just get her mind wandering, thinking about how nice it would be to have your hands under her clothes. Sex ed, let's face it, is pretty inadequate. A lot of us look to porn in order to learn what we should and shouldn't do in the bedroom. Unfortunately, porn, just like Hollywood movies, is very dramatized. So what looks good in porn doesn't tend to really translate to what actually feels good in the bedroom for a lot of people. And what we tend to see in porn with breast play is a lot of very extreme roughness and aggressiveness. And the majority of women actually prefer the opposite. They prefer a very light and gentle touch. So my recommendation is to start out gentle. Say, how is that pressure? Would you like firmer? It's okay to communicate. We've been taught this ridiculous myth that we can't communicate during sex. And it's so ridiculous because on one hand, you've got a woman's naked breasts in your hands, but on the other hand, you're too nervous to ask her what pressure she likes. So we really need to just communicate, and the more we communicate, the better and more satisfying sexual experiences we're going to have. Do lots of circling around the breast without touching the nipple. And that's because the nipple is the most sensitive element for most women. For a lot of women, it feels amazing to have the nipple stimulated. I know it certainly does for me, and I am a big fan of it. But that's even more reason to hold off, again, because you're employing that whole teasing thing where you're making her kind of thirst for it. But the other side of that is that for a lot of women, their nipples are actually sensitive to the point where it's not particularly pleasant for them to have them touched or played with. So start out completely avoiding the nipples and simply just circling around the breast. So you're going to be going around like that. Another nice thing to do is to kind of get behind her and bring your hands around like so. And then another thing that you can do if you want to work up a little bit is to just very gentle to kind of medium pressure, just kind of grab them. And that can feel quite nice as well. But just try to avoid touching the nipple at this point. A lot of women really enjoy having their breasts worshipped. Again, this is something that you need to establish through communication first. Just ask her each step of the way. But for a lot of women, this is incredibly erotic because the breasts are a symbol of nurturing, and they're an area of our body as women that we don't typically let people touch. And because of that, they have that sense of being quite forbidden. So it's, for a lot of women, it's very exciting and arousing to have someone really just absolutely lavish our breasts with attention. So with the nipples, you can just start by circling your fingers around the nipples, and then just a little bit of light pinching, very gentle, can feel very nice. Remember, these aren't dials on a like DJ booth or something, guys. This is very light, gentle touch is what is going to win you points with your woman. And then you can start sucking on them and absolutely suck on her nipples. But again, gentle sucking, you're not a vacuum cleaner. And then if you want to, you can go ahead and motorboat her boobs. And for those of you that don't know what motorboating is, it's pretty much when you just plant your head in her cleavage straight in the middle of the boobs and just blow a big old raspberry in there. So clearly I am really bad at motorboating. That was my first attempt. And if you really want to take things up a notch, you can do a bit of titty fucking. Now, titty fucking is when you essentially put your cock in the middle of her tits and you basically sort of rub it up and down in between that area. Make sure it's lubricated because that's not going to feel nice for you or her if it's not. You can basically have her just sort of pull her breasts around your cock and have your cock in the middle. I myself quite enjoy a bit of a titty fuck, and I would recommend to any of the women watching to at least give it a go and then decide whether or not you like it. But I think it can be quite erotic and exciting, and it just adds a little bit of, I don't know, spice or pizzazz to the experience. And of course you can go all the way with that and give her a what is called pearl necklace. A pearl necklace is when you are titty fucking a woman and you ejaculate, and so your ejaculation is essentially going to run up and around her neck, creating the illusion of a pearl necklace with your cum. So again, that is another step up. So do make sure you discuss this with her first. Do not just go ahead and cum on a woman's body, because while many of us find it exciting, not all of us will enjoy it. We've all basically, as women, been conditioned to believe that there's something wrong with our bodies because we've grown up with these Photoshop magazines. Now we've got Photoshop social media. So for the vast majority of women, we don't totally love our breasts and we don't feel totally comfortable with them. A lot of women have been told by an insensitive partner in the past that our tits are too saggy, or they're too small, or they're too big, or whatever it is. We've heard something along the way that we have in our head and is creating a bit of a complex for us around it. So to have you actually reinforce that you do find our breasts sexy, that is huge. So definitely don't just use your hands, use your words. Tell her, fuck, your tits are so sexy. Oh my God, I just want to motorboat those titties. I love those boobies. I love those babies. I'm so lucky you just have the breasts of a goddess. Like, just, you know, tell her, make her feel like she is this incredible sexual goddess. All right, guys, so those are my tips. Let me know, did you enjoy them? Did you find them useful? I'd love to also hear from any of the women listening. Do you agree? Did these things feel nice for you? Or do you have other tips for the men that are listening today? Please let me know in the comments down below. I read all your comments every time. And most importantly, subscribe, because it's your subscriptions that are helping me to actually be able to make these videos for you every single week and give you this sex advice. Like the video to let me know that you enjoyed it. Comment down below and I will see you guys next time. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Mwah.